Welcome, everyone. My name is Alexandra Chereshnya. I'm marketing manager at Redtag, and now I would like to welcome you all at our webinar, How to Get Value Out of Salesforce Premier Success. I'll be your host for today. We are scheduled for about 45 minutes, and we'll cover some of the questions at the end. And without any further ado, let me introduce our amazing speakers, Lisa Hospodarenko and Andriy Naidenko. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Alexandra, and thank you so much, everyone, for joining and participating. So we do have a big topic to cover today. We're going to be talking about Salesforce Premier Success. Salesforce Premier Success is all about support and care from Salesforce. Something that we do as a partner very often. We work with accounts who have Premier Success, and we've just observed over the time that not every customer knows how to properly utilize it in order to get the most out of the service. And in general, not every customer knows that Salesforce truly invests in supporting them. So in terms of the, we'll jump through into a quick introduction. So my name is Lisa. I work in business development for Redtag. My main goal is to help us maintain our high customer satisfaction score and make sure that the customers feel heard. I am a Salesforce Sales Champions trainee. And I'm a mom to about 4,000 bees. One of my hobbies is beekeeping. So if we ever meet in person, don't be shy and ask me for a jar of honey. I'm going to let Andriy jump in for his portion.
Thanks, Lisa. My name is Andriy. I'm Salesforce consultant at Redtag, and my mission is to help people understand Salesforce better and assist them in finding the best matching solution. So that is why I'm here. And yeah, I'm father just one kid, but I'm happy to. Lisa, the stage is yours. You are muted.
My apologies. So now let's get to the quick warm up. If you just can write down your name and where you're joining us from, it'd be awesome to see it'd be awesome to see you. It'd be awesome to say hi. Feel free to leave any comments in the comment section during the webinar. We will get back to them during the Q&A session. So yeah, who do we have? Who do we have joining? Oh, hi, Steven from Irvine office. Awesome. We were just there a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I remember you guys were here.
That's awesome. I was like, I can see Salesforce furniture in the background. That looks like Salesforce office.
You recognize it. Yeah, thanks for putting this on. This is something that I feel like I've always I need to know because I have a lot of customers that have it, and I also have customers that I want to sell it to, but really don't. Other than the few pieces of information I know so far, I really don't have a good understanding of what they get with Premier Success. So this should be helpful.
Awesome. And I hope we'll do our best to uncover this topic. So we can always look at it from our partner experience as well. Because very often, frankly, we're the ones who help customers submit at least some of those first support cases. And we're the ones who kind of help them build out the roadmap for some of these one-on-one coaching sessions. So hopefully we'll shine light. And if you have any particular questions, please ask them. We'll be more than happy to cover it. I also have Marian from Los Angeles. Welcome. And Tatiana from Lviv. Welcome, Tatiana. Awesome. We may be a bit of a smaller group, but this webinar is recorded. So if you find that there is value in this webinar, please feel free to share it. Would always be happy to return to this topic too. So what do we have on agenda today? We're going to start from talking about Salesforce support environment in general. Premier Success and the customer support is just one of the aspects in which Salesforce supports the customers. So when we talk about Salesforce support environment, we're going to mention some of these other tools that will hopefully set your customers up for success. Then we're going to look at Premier Success and what are the different tiers of support that are available. There are three. We have received actually some information from Salesforce for the partner manager as well. So we'll help you guys understand that in a bit more detail. Then we're going to talk a bit about how our managed services very often work in conjunction with Premier Success. and how we can drive the best results for the customers. Then we're going to hand off to Andrei to actually talk through one of the client cases where engaging Premier Success really helped us achieve the resolution fast and get an input from the subject matter experts at Salesforce, which was priceless. And then at the end, we're going to do a very quick demo. We're just going to show you how to submit a support case. Sometimes it may seem like a bit of a process, but it's actually pretty easy. So just a few words about Redtag. We're a solution implementation partner. We've been on the market for about 10 years. We are very proud of our customer satisfaction score, and that's why we feel like we're in a good position to talk about customer success in the first place. We really do prioritize it. For example, even our quick starts always have support hours and training included. So we do believe in the customer-centric approach and in working with Salesforce to achieve that approach. And where we mostly work with, we do have a pretty broad expertise. We're 120 plus people on staff. We mostly work with manufacturing, B2B commerce, and consumer goods clients. However, we have done, especially in the SMB and the GRB space, implementation for clients in professional services, in IT tech. So pretty broad, however, still focused within these areas and industries. Awesome. Without further ado, we're going to jump into the bread and butter. What makes Redtag unique is we've actually always been very involved in a Salesforce community. So our team has 2 offices. We have an office in Lviv, Ukraine. We have an office in Chicago. We are growing globally. So I'm, for example, joining out of Canada. And what we always found that helped us succeed and scale internally and within our team is the support that Salesforce provides. What are some of these support items? So first and foremost, we're all very familiar with Trailhead. Trailhead is an amazing resource where you can go through, get all the necessary resources, get certified. Something that we've done on the Redtag side is whenever we work with a customer case and we have the product owner that's assigned to the org implementation, we send them suggested trails. If it's more on a sales side, we always start from trying to give them understanding of what is Customer 360. So how does Salesforce pitch Customer 360? And then we dive into some more specific product trails. We've had a lot of success with that approach, even to give customers an overall understanding while asking them to invest a relatively small amount of time. Some trails are as short as 5 minutes. Some even on a longer side, the theoretical trails up to 30 minutes to pass, max an hour. It makes it very convenient, and it makes it kind of one of the first areas of where you can make a valuable suggestion. Another thing that we're going to note, and this is something that we get access to as a partner, and also your customers get access to, is the overall partner community. So community where you can ask questions and get answers. You can also sort based on the industry, like you can join different community groups. For example, if you have a customer in financial services, you can ask them to join financial services community group and see what are the requests and what are some of the problems that a partner is talking about. Then, the actual community groups, so in-person ones. You can see here a couple of pictures from both of our community groups in Ukraine as well as in States. And here is my recent launch of a Sales Bears community group in Ottawa. We always encourage you, whenever you work with a customer in a certain geographic area, to expose them to community groups. There is usually monthly meetups where you can talk to peers, you can talk to other people who are in similar positions that are not only going to help you maybe resolve some of these small issues, but they're also going to give you the inspiration to move forward and some of that vision of how things can work. And in general, these events are usually a lot of fun. Another resource that we can't mention is Salesforce Help. Salesforce Help is something that our team, for example, always goes through and always encourages customers to go through first before you reach out to Salesforce support. It has a wealth of resources that guide you through everything from the best practices to some of the limitations to some of the suggestions. For example, if you're looking for tips on how to implement a particular product, in Salesforce Help, you're going to be able to find a data model, which will tell you the overall structure of the solution. It will tell you about all the components available, but it will also tell you how to utilize them and configure to meet the customer use case. So Salesforce Help is the resource we don't want to miss on. And here's the actual, so once we went through, right? So once the customer, and this is what we aim also to achieve with a partner, right? We aim to familiarize them with Trailhead. We aim to show them partner community, so they can always Google questions first before they think that they need support for a resolution. We encourage them to participate in community groups because it's good for the overall longevity of their relationship with Salesforce. If it's something more technical, we always help them look through Salesforce Help because there's a lot of resources. And then if all these support options are exhausted, that's where we would encourage the customer to reach out to Salesforce support, as well as get Salesforce Premier Success and expert coaching. I cannot stress this enough. This is technically one umbrella under Salesforce support, but there is a lot of value in getting that expertise directly from, I like to joke, directly from the mothership, because Salesforce is very flexible. So that's what's important to understand. And the only retainer of the best, like the main retainer of the best practices within the whole Salesforce ecosystem, that's humongous, is Salesforce itself. Nobody, no partner, including us, will ever know better than Salesforce. So once we've already used all these levels of resources that are available, once we feel that there's actually an issue that needs that expertise, we're going to go and we're going to utilize Salesforce Premier Success to get customers fast access to help, and most importantly, to help them get help that's consistent with the best practices. You can reach out, there's lots of resources, but you're never going to get more precise recommendations than directly from Salesforce. So what are the level of support that Salesforce provides? There's 3 levels. So the standard Salesforce is a self-guided experience, and we can still help those customers, right? So as we showed on a previous slide, there's a lot of resources available by default. But then they can also still, submit client cases, get resolution, and try to address more some of these niche technical issues. Now, the package that we see that customers have the most success with, and the one that we recommend, and that's actually the core of our story today, is Salesforce Premier Success. It's the one in the middle. It's a very good option for some of these companies who are looking to grow. So there's actually no direct recommendation as to the size of the company. It can be a 1-person company, and they're going to take advantage of Premier Success. It can be a 100-person company with their own Salesforce development department, and they're still going to benefit from it. So what are some of these benefits? First one is targeted guidance and best practices, or what Salesforce calls expert coaching sessions. Now, how would I sell an expert coaching session? We all know that whenever we work with a customer business, we always try to tap into different tenants in their business. For example, we start talking to the operations department, but then operations department tells us that they heard from finance that they want to have an accounting connection, for example. Or we're working with sales, and then sales mentions to us that they also have a marketing department who would potentially be interested in exploring some of these opportunities, or even seeing if it's the right fit, or seeing how they can integrate some of these solutions. So that's where the expert coaching sessions would come in. the greatest advantage of Premier Success is that you can get straight to Salesforce subject matter experts within a few hours and get information directly from them and be coached on that. So to give you an example of the customer case, we had a customer who recently decided to add MuleSoft to their stack. We've designed a solution. We worked with the sales side of the Salesforce org. And now that they're actually working with MuleSoft, they are engaging with the MuleSoft expert coaching sessions to see how they can take MuleSoft to the next level. Yes, as a partner, we're also like making our suggestions. We're helping them out how it's going to look, technically, and we are still working with them to implement it. However, I don't believe that that relationship would have been as effective if our customer did not have access to the MuleSoft coach. Because from what they told us, every time they get in with their MuleSoft coach, they really try to dive in and dissect some of these more kind of business related questions that MuleSoft rep can just speak to surely even from their experience, because they're at the forefront of the best practices and they're the ones who deal with all client cases in all industries. Another thing that's important to note is phone and online support and chat support. Ability to get to the case resolutions fast is a very important feature, especially if Salesforce is one of the core operational softwares for your customers. For example, if I'm a SaaS company and I use Salesforce for my onboarding process, and I onboard, for example, 100 new customers a day, I can't afford to have any delays in the process. So if something happens, and if I do need that very quick response, having access to phone and online support is crucial. And something that I want to highlight from our partnership side as well, we have offices all over the world. So for us to be able to reach a live person 24/7, 365 is a very important aspect of our operations. And it does make a difference. It's not just, 1 day SLA, like it's actually a 1 hour SLA on the Salesforce sites, which expedites the whole process considerably. And the last thing that's important to mention is developer support. You may have some orgs in your book that are older. For example, not sure if you're aware, but right now there's a lot of talk of migrating from Apex code into flows. So flows is something that Salesforce is really pushing. We talk a lot about declarative development. That's all great. Flows are maintainable. Flows are beautiful. I can do a flow without having a developer experience. But the reality is that there's still a lot of companies that have Apex code in their Salesforce. And moreover, there are some use cases where you just can't replace the development code. When it comes to the way the way Salesforce looks sometimes, or some of the more unique use cases, you do need to write and maintain code on your org. And that's where Salesforce developer support comes super in handy. Once again, I cannot highlight enough the best practices. Salesforce does releases very often. And with every new release, there's a lot of details that you have to keep on your mind. And if you have someone at your company, like for example, they have a sales op manager or an admin who can keep up with general changes, trust me, they're not going to be able to keep up with all the developer updates. There's just too many. So for those customers that have something custom coded on Salesforce, having Premier Success is absolutely crucial because they get access to development support. So there is also an additional level of partnership, an additional level of support. We often see it come in at a larger accounts. So that's where you get like a designated technical account manager. Salesforce will be very hands-on when it comes to monitoring your org. mostly because of our exposure. So Redtag works a lot in the SMB, GRB space. We haven't worked with too many customers on signature level of subscription, but we do find that once you get into that like commercial and up market size, you start to see it, because at that point the client would have, you know, a 20 plus person org, 20 plus person department maintaining the org, and that's where for them having a dedicated technical customer success person really makes sense. With that said, for most of the client cases that we see, Premier Success pretty much covers it all. Awesome. So now we're going to talk just a bit about Redtag's managed services, and then we're going to tell how we play in conjunction, because there's still a lot of support that can be offered before we need to make that escalation to Salesforce support. So Redtag's managed services come in 4 main tiers. If I were to break them down even more simply, we basically do it by a full-time engagement, 3/4, half, and a quarter full-time engagement. We find that majority of the customers usually need approximately 80 hours of support a month. That's kind of where we land. And then on average, we're submitting 1 or 2 customer support cases a quarter. So that's kind of that works. Something to also note, we always include training in our packages. So when we talk about, you know, helping customers set up these coaching sessions as a part of Premier Success, or developing their own trailheads, this is something that we push customers towards. So then later, when they are on their own, or when, for example, they grow and they need some additional support on top of our managed services, we can engage them, and we can work together with Salesforce Premier Success to give them the best, frankly, hand-holding experience, because we all know that Salesforce is a beautiful product, but it does need configuration and it does need maintenance in order for it to continue function and continue growing with the customer, right? Because your customer business changes so much. Like sometimes external economic conditions, internal changes, the needs really do variate as their account grows. And when it's a team of both a partner and Salesforce Premier Success working together, that's when the customer is gonna, well, frankly, stay with the solution for the longest. And that's in all of our interests. It's in our interest because we can continue supporting them, and it's in Salesforce interest because it generates beautiful ACV year over year, and hopefully allows Salesforce to penetrate further into different departments within the customer business. Wonderful. So at this point, I know I've been talking for quite some time. I'm going to hand it off to a real case, and I'm going to allow Andrei to talk about his personal experience. And yeah, Andrei, take it away.
Thanks, Lisa. Thanks. After Lisa's melodic speech, it's time for a kind rough one. 15 years ago, I thought of connecting my life with stand-up comedy. So thank you, Redtag, and everyone present for the opportunity to once again experience being on stage. You know how it happens. You're preparing for something, you're discussing what worries you have with your colleagues, and at some point, someone appears who says, listen, and this is what happened to me. So here is something I overheard in the smoking room while was preparing to our webinar. My colleague was working on the deployment of metadata from one org to another, and at some point realized that process was stuck. After he was unable to find relevant information from colleagues, the community, documentation, he reached out to support. And then I'll try to reflect the emotions with which he described what happened. Here is his quote. I didn't count on anything because the problem was quite specific, but to my great surprise, the specialist on the other side of the monitor did not just read my message, but immediately, without delays or additional steps, offered to arrange a call with the DevOps Center team. It was hard not to agree. And after the call, for several days, the support specialist kept sending updates, and in the end, the team proposed a solution that solved my problem. Everything happened so rapidly, clearly, and effectively that my colleague was he was thrilled and shared the story in a way that made me consider purchasing the Premier Success support plan. By the way, at that time, he didn't know that the client he was assisting had a premium support package, and he just thought that Salesforce had introduced new service standards. So, what conclusion can I made from this story? First, the Premier Success support plan is unquestionably effective for businesses that must continually tailor their organizations for those for whom response time is critical, and for those seeking additional training and consulting opportunities, this plan is a must-have. That's about a real case. And now, regardless of which support package you use, you need to be able to submit your ticket. So now I'm going to show you how to do it real quick. Just let me share my screen. Just a second.
I think I gave you the reins.
Here is. Can you see it now? Yep. Nice. So the easiest, most, let's say, logical way to do this, to submit a ticket, is to do this directly from your. So first, we need to click on question sign in the upper right corner of the window. Then select Get Support, confirm redirection, wait a few seconds, and a few more seconds.
Our internets are not collaborating today. My Wi-Fi was out right before the...
That's what happens every time you have something important. On this screen, you will be offered several resources for solving the issue yourself, but we are clearly aiming at the opening of the case. So click Contact Support on the right corner and choose Create a Case. Now it's necessary to fill in the corresponding mandatory fields like subject and description. But I'd like to mention additionally that in cases where the ticket is not created from an organization, it will be necessary to specify the organization ID. It can be found in the org, in setup menu, just type company info in quick find. And here you will be able to find Salesforce.com organization ID. Here is what you will need to enter while submitting a ticket. Also, for faster resolution of the issue, it would be good to provide access to the org for support specialists. So to do this, we're clicking on the profile menu, settings, ground account login access, and near Salesforce.com support, we need to select the period of the success. So after that, let's return to our case. Our case is here. We can add collaborators and some files related to the problem and click create case. So voila, everything is ready and nothing really complicated. Thanks for this Salesforce actually. And that's it from my side. And thank you for your attention for my minute of time.
Awesome. And so I'm just gonna quickly share my screen to return to our conversation. Give me one moment. Something that Redtag is also offering right now, just for the attendees of the webinar, is we are doing 50% off the first months for Redtag managed services. And we structure contracts that if they don't like us after the first months, they can break the contract without incurring any fees or penalties. We do it on purpose. We know that we can help the customers. And yeah, it's just a good incentive to get them started with the managed services where we can train them. We can help them understand how to better use their org. And then we usually roll from there alongside Salesforce. Wonderful. So this concludes our description of Premier Success and the way we use it. So once again, I really hope if you guys have any comments, concerns, if you feel like we should spend a bit more time on maybe describing something else in particular parts, please feel free to leave it as a comment. But for now, let's open the room to some questions. Does anybody have any questions you'd like to ask? Maybe Steven, you're pretty engaged. How do you feel?
Yeah, I feel good. I think maybe the biggest thing is like you guys have obviously worked on a handful of deals, most likely where you guys have positioned and sold Premier Support. So what is like maybe the main one or two value propositions that during a sales cycle you guys will explain or use to get the customer, to really lean in that direction? I mean, I assume it has something to do with just the overall success of the project being, adopted and being and getting them the return on investment. But what are like the main maybe one or two things you guys focus on to really build the value for Premier Success?
Great question. So first thing is actually expert coaching sessions. That gives customers the feeling of confidence because once again, like there's only there's only so much information that can be retained outside of the mothership. So expert coaching sessions we found have been really helpful for the customers. One more thing is that when we and that I know that different partners approach it differently, but we at Redtag are very straightforward. So when we talk to the customers, we prepare them that Salesforce is the long-term investment in their future that they're going to have to invest in maintaining. So whenever we write, for example, our scopes of work, we would assign a product owner on the customer side who is responsible for retaining that knowledge. And when we prepare them, so we tell them that, okay, like you're the product owner, like, you're the person, like we'll teach you how to get access. However, in order for you to continue driving things forward within your company and continue to be the champion, you can really benefit from Salesforce Premier Success because it's going to allow you to, if any issues comes up, resolve them for your team within a few hours. So that's kind of the big one because people don't want to feel like they're left alone, right? And then our service at the end of the day, like our managed service still comes at a price. So they do want to know that even if they, for example, don't use our managed services or we just did an implementation, that they can resolve things fast and basically continue being that champion for their own company. So it allows us to create the feeling for the customer that they're the ones who are driving the ship and that they're the ones who are going to be capable of resolving it because you get Premier Success. And hey, even if you feel like you don't have enough expertise, make sure to take advantage of this expert coaching sessions.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
No worries. I hope it helped. And we've seen, honestly, a lot of, from what I've seen other account executives sell it too, expert coaching sessions seem to be a big one, especially if they have engagement from like multiple departments. So if we're talking, for example, to both, sales, marketing, and for example, their ops is somewhere around, then they're like, okay, like you'll be able to get access to expert expertise in what you're expert at, and you'll be able to get access to it within your domain. And that really sells them on that too. Awesome. Do you have any more questions from the audience? Yes, we do. We always teach customers how to work with Salesforce support. As I mentioned in one of the first slides, we teach customers how to use all the support tools available on Salesforce. So Trailhead, we teach them how to use partner communities. We expose them to the idea of joining community groups. We show them how to use Salesforce Help. And then we also definitely show them how to support cases and how to maintain it. It's a big part of something that Andrea does. It's like whenever we submit a client case, we would make a point out of showing the client how to do it so they can self-manage if need be going forward.
We did have some more questions. Thank you, Lisa. The next one was, do I need an internal Salesforce team to take advantage of Premier Success?
Another great question. It's good if you have an internal Salesforce team. I mean, it actually helps because then when we start a conversation, okay, who's going to be the product owner on your side? We don't have to put on that additional responsibility on, just people who have other daily tasks on their plate. However, no, you don't need to have a dedicated Salesforce team. In fact, if you have a big Salesforce team, you should probably 100% get Premier Success and then maybe look into even a higher tier of support. But even if you are a one-person company, that's where I almost feel like if you don't have an internal team, you can drive even more value out of Premier Success because then you can just be the champion and resolve issues on your own.
Awesome. And I think for the last one now, for how long do customers need to retain Premier Success?
For as long as you're using Salesforce, because frankly, we see different lengths of managed services engagements, but what we also see that Salesforce becomes a core part of customers' business in pretty much every implementation that we do. So if it's a core part of your business, you want to make sure that you can maintain it and do it in a quality way.
Yeah, if you try something amazing, something specifically good, I think then you can't get rid of that because you really like it. And Premier Success Plan is something really good.
Okay, thank you so much. I think it's all we have for now. Thank you so much for an amazing webinar, and we'll see you next time.
And thank you everyone for attending. I really appreciate your time. And yeah, if you'd like to share a recording with anybody else, would love to, would love you to do that. So thank you.
Thanks, everybody.